Okay, picture this. You're sitting at a nice restaurant ready to order. You don't just march right into the kitchen and start shouting at the chef, right? No, you talk to a waiter. The waiter takes your request, hands it to the kitchen, and then brings your food right back to your table. Well, when you're building custom AI applications, it works exactly the same way. Your application is the customer, the AI model is the chef, and we need a waiter to pass the messages back and forth. So this explainer is all about how we set up that communication using Microsoft Foundry endpoints. Here is our roadmap for mastering this topic for the AI-901 exam. We're going to cover APIs and endpoints, securing Foundry resources, types of endpoints, REST requests and JSON, and finally, software development kits.
Let's dive right into Section 1, APIs and Endpoints Connecting to the Cloud.
In Microsoft Foundry, you can define the specific models and agents you want to use in your custom AI apps. But because those Foundry resources live up in the cloud, you've got to connect to them over the internet. You basically consume them as application programming interfaces, or APIs for short. Now, the core definition you need to remember here is that an API is really just a set of rules. It allows one application to talk to another application or service. It defines exactly what requests you can make, what data you're going to get back, and exactly how you have to format your request. Think about a business process outsourcing company, a BPO, and they're building this automated customer service bot. Well, that bot needs a strict set of rules to send a customer's question to the AI and actually understand the answer it gets back. So for your AI-901 exam spotter, burn this phrase in your memory. If a question asks what defines the rules for how applications communicate, the answer is absolutely an API. So if the API is the set of rules, where exactly are we sending these requests? Well, that brings us to endpoints. Like most cloud services, Microsoft Foundry resources are accessed through an API endpoint. You can literally think of an endpoint as a service entry point. Notice how it looks exactly like a web address? It's a unique HTTP address, just like a normal website. But instead of being built for a human typing into a web browser, it's built specifically for your client application code to connect to. And here's an exam spotter alert for you. When you're looking at a test question, identify an endpoint by looking for that standard HTTPS web address format. It is the literal digital doorway to your AI models.
Moving right along to Section 2, securing resources and protecting those endpoints.
To keep your Foundry resources secure in the cloud, that endpoint has to be protected. I mean, you definitely don't want just anyone on the internet sending requests and running up your cloud bill. Applications can only access your endpoint if they can prove they're actually allowed to be there. And there are two primary ways to do this, which you'll easily find over in the Foundry Playground's details page. The first is an API key. Think of an API key like a physical metal key to the front door. If you're holding the key, you can get in. The second method is a Microsoft Entra ID token. This is more like an employee ID badge that confirms your specific credentials are valid and active for that building. For the exam, just remember that endpoints are never just open to the public. They always require authentication via either a direct API key or an Entra ID token to ensure everything is secure.
Next up, Section 3, Types of Endpoints, specifically project versus model.
In Foundry, you're going to run into two common types of endpoints, and they serve very different purposes. First, we have project-level endpoints. These are basically the entryways you use for working broadly with your Foundry project and managing its overall resources. Second, we have model endpoints. These are highly specific entryways used for one main job: sending prompts to deployed models. If you're a junior builder out there testing a new generative AI chatbot, you are sending your users chat messages directly to a model endpoint. For your AI-901 exam, make sure you can confidently match these terms. If a question specifically mentions sending prompts to deployed models, immediately look for model endpoints as your correct answer.
Section 4 gets into the actual conversation, REST requests, and JSON.
The interfaces provided at the endpoint are officially known as representational state transfer interfaces. Obviously, that is a huge mouthful, so developers just call them REST interfaces for short. Applications communicate with the endpoint by sending REST requests, and a REST request is broken down into two really simple parts: the headers and the body. The headers act kind of like the envelope of a letter. They contain the metadata, stuff like your authentication keys and information about the data format. The body, well, that's the actual letter inside the envelope. It contains your actual data, and it's formatted in something called JSON.
Let's actually look at a real REST request. And hey, if you're non-technical, don't let this code intimidate you. Let's just break it down together. First, right at the very top, you see the word post, followed by our HTTPS endpoint URL. That just tells the system where to send the data. Next, look at those lines starting with a -H. Those are our headers. You can clearly see one labeled Authorization Bearer, followed by a token. This is exactly where our security badge, that Enter ID token or API key we talked about, gets passed to unlock the door. Finally, at the bottom, marked by the -D, is the body. Inside this body, you can read plain English. It's a prompt from a user asking, what is an AI application? That is the actual question we are sending over to the model.
Now, when the model finishes generating its answer, the results come right back as a response. Just like the request, this response comes back with headers and a body, and again, the body is delivered in that format called JSON. Looking at this section of a JSON response, notice how the information is paired up inside those curly brackets. It's called a key-value pair. You see model as the key and GPD4.2-mini as the value. Role is the key and assistant is the value. And if you scan all the way down to the bottom, right under the text key, you can find the actual plain English reply generated by the model explaining what an AI application is. JSON is really just a structured way to keep data organized so applications can read it quickly and easily.
Now, typing out all those HTTP headers and managing authorization manually, that gets super tedious. So let's look at Section 5, SDKs, Simplifying REST Calls.
While developers absolutely can write code that works directly with the REST interfaces we just looked at, most of them prefer a massive shortcut: software development kits, or SDKs. An SDK is essentially an easy button. It's a library of pre-written code that completely abstracts the REST interfaces for you. Instead of manually formatting all that JSON and writing out headers, you just use simple commands in your preferred programming language, and the language-specific helpers build the REST calls for you behind the scenes. Think about a freelancer trying to quickly build an AI-powered tool for a client, and SDK literally saves them countless hours. For the AI-901 exam, you absolutely must recognize the term SDK and know that Microsoft provides these libraries for popular programming languages like Python, JavaScript, and C#. If you see those languages listed in a question about simplifying API connections, they are pointing you straight toward SDKs.
And this brings us to the ultimate takeaway of everything we've covered in this explainer. The endpoint for your Foundry resources is the central hub for your client applications. By understanding APIs, securing your endpoints, managing REST requests, and utilizing SDKs, you are totally empowered to build custom solutions backed by the security, scalability, and reliability of the Azure Cloud Platform. So, now that you know how to talk to the AI chef securely and efficiently, what custom, highly scalable Azure Cloud solution are you going to build next?